more.
Exactly.
So to learn, to earn, and return, and with specific emphasis on financial literacy. This is the next big thing. This is what I call the third and final moral imperative and moral assignment for our people. Economic development, wealth creation, and the closing of the income and wealth gap between blacks and whites in America. There was an interesting study that came out in August of last year, the Institute of Policy study on the wealth gap between blacks and whites in America. And at the conclusion of the study, here's the statement that they closed the study with. They said, if nothing changes among African Americans, it will take us 228 years to close the wealth gap between blacks and whites in this country, if ever. 228 years. It said it will take Hispanics 89 years, but it will take us 228 years if nothing changes. That is almost the amount of time it took us to overcome slavery.
Exactly. Right? And so why would be 89 years for the Hispanic community and 200 in your opinion, George, and 228 years for African American families to reach that wealth?
Three very, very big reasons. The power of family, two people working together.
Okay, power of family.
Like mine, the power of family. As you know, Hispanics are very much about family.
Yes.
The power of entrepreneurship.
Right.
Hispanics are very entrepreneurial.
Right.
Okay, very entrepreneurial. And they have a savings ethic. Right?
Okay.
It is woven into their culture that they save. Now, they save a percentage of their income. Like Asians, they have a saving culture. So from a mindset and consciousness standpoint, they're 60-70% there.
Right, exactly.
Now, I don't have to tell you we have a family issue in Black America.
Yes.
Do you know what the biggest problem? Do you know what the biggest problem in Black America is aside from money? Okay, but it's related to money. The biggest problem in Black America is the absence of the black male in the home.
Right. So single families run and operated and cared for by moms who are overworked and overstressed.
That's right. You got the sisters trying to pull this cart by themselves for the most part. 72% of our children are being raised by single-parent families. So family is important, right?
Yes.
A culture of savings is important.
Right.
Entrepreneurship is important. So these are elements that we have to shift our consciousness and shift our mindset. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about where are the opportunities? What are the best business opportunities for blacks in America? What is the kind of radicalness that we have to engage to deal with our addiction and disease around money? Okay? So that's what we're going to focus on. Because if Martin Luther King would have come back here 50 years after his death,
right,
he would pimp slap black people. He would pimp slap us. We're at the bottom of every single statistic that matters in America. He would say to black people, is this what I took a bullet for? We have gone backwards.
In fact, this
is unacceptable.
It is very, and it's funny you say that because last week, I believe one of my friends on Facebook had said that, wow, if Martin Luther King had known, if we knew what we knew now, he could have had a normal life. If we weren't going to move past where we were and follow suit, he could have had a normal life. Coretta could have had her husband. He wouldn't have been bugged. None of that stuff. So we did a disservice to him, and very disrespectful, in my opinion, that we didn't continue to carry the torch to rise our people up when he laid the groundwork.
So metaphorically, he died and we died.
Exactly. And it's kind of funny because entrepreneurially, that was the core of who we are and who we were in our ancestors from the motherland. That was the core of that, right? So for us to lose, and I know why we lost it during segregation, but us to lose that innate DNA a fiber, because that's where mine came from, was something that was perpetuated through my family. I'm a third generation entrepreneur, but for us not to have been able to carry, that's part of our DNA.
That's right. Now, is this Block Talk Radio or is this just regular terrestrial radio?
It is
internet radio. It's like a podcast.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, so it's Block Talk.
Yeah. It's a visual podcast. So we are actually it's streaming live right now on MorrisMediaLive.com.
So I want to say a bad word.
No, that's okay. You can go ahead. You can.
I want to say a bad word, but I want to say it in context.
Okay.
And I say this with love.
Okay.
And I posted this on my Facebook page today, actually. And it is a quote from my most favorite Facebook response. Okay.
Okay.
And I prefaced this quote from a brother out of New Orleans by basically saying, in the name of keeping it real, a fan sent me this on a Facebook post in response to a blistering diatribe speech that I gave to a large audience recently, and he was in attendance.
Okay.
And the speech was on the destructive state of our financial mindset and consciousness and the negative impact on future generations of black children. And I said, I think his honest remarks says volumes. So here's what this brother wrote to me. He said, Dr. Fraser, you got me thinking in a way that I never knew existed. I never felt more proud to be a black man than I do today. The success of it all is overwhelming. I'm alive. Thank you for kicking me in my black lazy ass. Now I said, that says volume.
That says
right?
volumes.
That says volume. So what it says to me is that we have the capacity, we have the intellect, okay? We have the potential resources, just that too many of us are lazy, because what you and I and we're all talking about will take work.
Yes.
That's true.
Right?
Yes.
Will take elbow grease, as my mama used to say.
Yes, it does.
Elbow grease. And we have to move out of this cathartic state that we are in. And this state that in a sense depresses our capacity to be the magnificent people that we really are. We are God's first people. That's not hype.
No.
That's real. The first human remains, humans as we know them, were found in the Olduvai Gorge 75,000 years ago in Ethiopia. In Ethiopia. And if you're hanging out in Ethiopia, and I've been to Ethiopia, you're blue-black.
Yes.
So we are awesome human beings. My Jewish friends tell me all the time, Dr. Fraser, Jews are God's chosen people. And I retort by saying, well, Jews may be God's chosen people, but black people are God's first people. Okay? So, yes, I love you, my Jewish brother, but understand that your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandmama is from Africa.
Exactly.
Right. So we are magnificent people with enormous capacity, and too many of us have not chosen the path of work ethic necessary to do the learning, to do the earning, and then do the returning.
Exactly.
So it's not a problem of capacity. There's nothing wrong with our DNA. We are not less intelligent than anybody. In fact, I believe that in many cases we are more intelligent. You saw Hidden Figures, right?
Yes.
We are more intelligent, right? But we have become complacent.
See, Dr. Fraser,
yes.
I think I totally agree with you. I'm thinking that a lot of this has to do with that Willie Lynch doctrine that was passed on to us back in the day, and a lot of people can't let go of it.
That's right. Amen. I'm glad you said it.
Yes.
That's exactly right.
We need to break away. We got to figure out a way how to get folks to break away from that doctrine, because it's really suppressing us. It's suppressing our growth, our economic viability, and everything.
That's right. Well, I have a radical approach that I'm going to take. A radical approach. And I think it's going to take something radical.
It will.
To again, move us, because I classify it as like an addiction, like a disease. And when you have an addiction, we know that there's really one system that has, over nearly 100 years, that has effectively dealt with addictions. Mm-hmm. So I think that we need to move our people in the direction of using the simple 3-step system that Alcoholics Anonymous uses to treat sobriety, or Weight Watchers uses to treat obesity.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
It's a very simple system. Now, they are the most successful organization in treating addictions. Okay? Mm-hmm. They have almost 100 years of experience. So this 3-step process is simple. Is you get the person that has the addiction to pledge to a commitment or to a series of steps. And you know, Alcoholics Anonymous has a 12-step program.
Right.
Weight Watchers has their own, I think, 7-step program. So to get us to pledge to some sort of series of commitments, okay? Now, we have crafted those commitments in the Moses movement, making ourselves economically successful movement. We started about 10 years ago, the Moses movement. So we have crafted what we call the 10 commitments to financial freedom. So they sound like this. Thou shalt prepare yourself and your family to tithe easily, effortlessly, and joyfully. Thou shalt maximize your earning potential, better manage your budget, and live below your means. Number 3, thou shalt start building wealth now and prepare your children to start early. Number 4, thou shalt save and invest at least 10% of your monthly income. Number 5, thou shalt use a home ownership and real estate as the cornerstone for building wealth. Number 6, thou shalt establish an investment plan for your retirement needs, your children's education, and community-based philanthropy. Number 7, thou shalt more effectively manage your credit, debt, and tax obligations to develop a track record of predictable financial behavior. Number 8 is thou shalt ensure that your wealth is passed to future generations through proper insurance and estate planning. Number 9, thou shalt support the creation and growth of minority-owned businesses. And number 10, thou shalt monitor and focus on your wellness to live a long and fruitful life as a model for your children. So we need our people to commit to, just as you have to if you go to Alcoholics Anonymous or Weight Watchers, to admit to some system and then set a goal. So our goal in the Moses movement is to become debt-free within 3 years, excluding your mortgage, and to commit to saving at least $50 a month. That's our goal.
Okay,
right?
so debt-free in 3 years and saving $50 a month. This is very... And saving. This is very similar to the Jewish phenomenon, their commitment, their principles. Right. I believe there's 17, is it 10 of them as well. It's a book I read, The Jewish Phenomenon. And that's what they talk about, is and that's what they have patterned their lives. A little different in the sense that their wealth is portable, but they support their communities, which is recycling black dollars, which, Muhammad Nazardine, I'm the co-director of that organization. Yes. And Muhammad, that was his thing, 29 years ago, was supporting your community. I mean, that shouldn't be so difficult. But, George, it's funny. When I go out to meetings now, especially in light of what's going on in our communities. And I'll go, I'm the director of Recycling Black Dollars, and they'll go, wow, that's a great that's a great concept. We should really be doing that. What?
Right. And that's because people are not reading the right things and surrounding themselves with people of like mind.
Right.
And that's one of the commitments you must make when you go through an addiction program.
Right.
You have to. I know a lot about Alcoholics Anonymous because my best friend was an alcoholic, and I had to do the intervention. And when you do the intervention, you also have to commit to going through the Alcoholics Anonymous system so that you know how to support the person that you intervene on. Right.
Right.
So one of the steps in overcoming an addiction is to commit to going at least 2 to 4 times a month, once a week, right, to a support center, right, where you are in a circle of people that are going through the same withdrawal symptoms and learning system as you are, right?
Right.
And they have support centers for Alcoholics Anonymous and Weight Watchers. In Cleveland, we have 41 Alcoholics Anonymous support centers. So any time of any day, you can go to a support group and a support center and get help and be around and to talk through with people who can support you in your self-improvement and can support you in growing around this particular addiction that you may have. So that's really the third step in Alcoholics Anonymous. The second step, what do we say? The first step is to commit to some sort of sequence of pledges, and set a little goal. The second step is to commit to the literacy around your addiction. Right? So when you go to Alcoholics Anonymous, when you go to Weight Watchers or Alcoholics Anonymous, you have to learn about the intellectually, you have to become literate about the language and the ups and downs and the psychology of how to overcome your addiction. You have to become literate. So the same thing with money. We have to become literate about money, right? And there's many books written on, and there's many things taught, and many people teaching those things so that we can become more literate, change our mindset, change our consciousness. So 1 is commit to a pledge and a goal. 2, commit to becoming literate, right, about what your addiction is and isn't. And 3, commit to going to a support group. Now, so the hard part for us, here's the hard part for us. The hard part is, where would we go? Yeah. That's the hard part. Okay, where would we go? So with Weight Watchers in Cleveland, for example, there are 31 Weight Watchers support groups in the greater Cleveland area, and Alcoholics Anonymous, there are 41, places that you can go. So here's my idea. Here's what I think we can do. There are 75,000 black churches in America. 15,000 of them have what they call wealth ministries. Right. Now, I've spoken in many of those wealth ministries. The problem with those wealth ministries, in some of them, not all of them, is the people who are ministering in those wealth ministries are not certified in financial literacy training. Exactly. Right? That's a pretty easy certification to get. I'm certified in financial literacy training. Right? So I would approach a pastor and say, listen, let's start a wealth ministry in your church if you don't already have one. The person who raises their hand to teach in that wealth ministry must get a certification around financial literacy training. So we'll upgrade the teaching in the ministry. Okay. Secondly, let's change the name. Let's not call it a wealth ministry. It's going to be a financial literacy support center. That's essentially what it's going to be. But we're going to change the name. We're going to give it something that helps black people feel that when they come, they can soar. So here's my name for the new 21st century black church wealth ministry: WINGS. WINGS. And WINGS is an acronym meaning wealth in the name of God and His Son. Wealth in the name of God and
his Son.
That's right. And basically, so we renamed the wealth ministry to Wings. And this is really a financial literacy support center. This is a place where our people can go, because with churches everywhere. In Cleveland, we have 175 black churches, right? So even if just a quarter of them had wealth ministries where people can actually come and be around people who are dealing with the same issue, that's the final piece. That's the third and final piece that will move us towards overcoming the challenges that we have psychologically that leads to a stinking thinking, badass habits, and a lack of consciousness around the power and importance of money. Money is huge. Don't misunderstand me. That money is critically important. It's right up there with oxygen.
It is.
No question about that. But there are other things in life, and there has to be some balance. But at the end of the day, we have to understand the power of this thing called money and how we use it. So I was speaking at the State of the Black World in New Jersey about a month ago, talking on economics, and these are all of the African-centered brothers and sisters from around the country. Minister Farrakhan was there, and Malana Karenga, who invented Kwanzaa, was there. All of those types.
Oh, okay.
And they were talking about everything but money. They were talking about reparations. They were talking about, resolving the issue of jail time for powder cocaine versus crack cocaine, the prison industrial. Wonderful, powerful, critical things. Right? So I was the only person talking about money. Money. My job was to talk about economics to this illustrious group. And so I said to them, all of you are doing incredible work in the community, or you wouldn't be here. This is the State of the Black World. You wouldn't be here. I know you're doing incredible work. You're heading up some of the most important nonprofit organizations in Black America. I said, but let me imagine something for you. Let me wave a magic wand for you. Just close your eyes for a moment. I wave a magic wand. And on Monday, when you go back to your organization, there's $1 billion of tax-free money in your account. Would that make a difference on the work that you could do? Of course it would make a difference. So my point is, there is no problem in Black America that 50 or 60 more billionaires couldn't solve. Ask Jews.
Exactly.
Ask the Jews.
Which is amazing to me, because when you look at capitalist America, and even what's going on with in Washington today, is all about very wealthy white men, old white men, that want to hang on to every dollar and to acquire every dollar in the entire global world. And to make sure that they keep it, they eliminate it from others. But I was telling someone yesterday, it's interesting to me, because as a business owner, it's about someone exchanging dollars to create your wealth, right? So if we eliminate all, to make sure that the middle class is completely eliminated, who are the spenders, and you starve out the lower class, the poverty, beyond the poverty level, just take everything, which is what Donald Trump is talking about, then how do the billionaires assume that they're going to stay billionaires?
That's right.
So
and by the way, do you think Donald Trump would be president if he wasn't a billionaire?
No, he would not.
I don't think so.
No. You wouldn't even hire him as he would be fired. He wouldn't even have made the application to become a CEO of anybody's company beyond his own.
That's right.
He would not have qualified.
No question about that. So money matters.
Money matters.
It matters. It matters.
Yes, it does.